My name's Matt Wilson. I'm a Senior Technical Advisor with the VBA, Victorian Building Authority. And I've been with the VBA for about nearly 16 years. We just want to touch on some core business functions of the Victorian Building Authority. The Victorian Building Authority carries out the licensing and registration of plumbing practitioners. We provide technical advice and information to industry. We carry out audits and plumbing inspections, investigations and audits to enforce compliance to legislation. Our role is to keep industry informed of any changes to the plumbing laws, and our principal role is to assess and decide on plumbing modifications where a plumber cannot comply with the normal requirements of the plumbing laws. The Victorian Building Authority has a register, and on that register, as of the 31st of December 2014, we have a total of 25,688 licensed or registered plumbing practitioners in the state of Victoria. We have 13,536 registered practitioners and 12,382 licensed practitioners. The figures indicate the number of plumbing practitioners is increased by 5% to a total of 25,688, with a steady overall growth in practitioner numbers during this period. Registered practitioners' numbers are growing faster than licensed practitioners. The ABS and other economic forecasts anticipate significant growth in demand for plumbers. A reminder that registered and licensed plumbers can now renew online through the secure portal on the VBA website. What happens when you cannot install or you can't install an installation to comply with the deemed to satisfy provisions, or cannot formulate an alternative solution as outlined in the PCA? The Building Act 1998 allows for the VBA to override or modify the regulations in some circumstances. This usually happens only in a situation where it's simply not possible to meet the regulations because of some unusual design, complication or site specification. The modification process allows for one-off and site-specific variations to the technical requirements to provide acceptable solutions that achieve the necessary performance. You can obtain a copy of an application for a modification form from the VBA website. An authorised applicant must complete the application form by outlining the plumbing code, the standard of which you can't comply, and provide a brief overview of the site or the conditions and the reasons why you can't comply with the relevant plumbing code or standard and how you intend to eliminate any risk that a modification might pose. As an example, for a build-over combined drain, you will need to submit a modification form with all relevant information, any supporting documents such as the conditions of connection or consent to connect letter, the 1 in 500 sewer plan and the building footprint plan. Technical advice and information. The VBA maintains a list of current technical solution sheets that are available from the VBA on the VBA website. There are 75 different technical solution sheets that are available for downloading. One of the key services is to provide technical advice to the industry. They take a number of forms, and development and maintaining of current technical solution sheets is a really important part of what we do from day to day. The text solution sheets and any other resources are designed to provide detail on a number of plumbing installation issues. There's an example on the screen of a charged system to a rainwater tank as an example of one of the technical solutions that are available for download. PBA has a plumbing technical advice line, and the advice line commenced internally back with the VBA on the 6th of November 2014. And the phone number is 1300 815 127, with our operating hours of Monday to Friday from 8:30am to 12pm and 1pm to 4pm. A general reminder is to try to have your standards with you at the time of your inquiry so that we can direct you to the relevant clause and information that's available from the standards. In addition to the technical advice line, the VBA also receives a number of inquiries via email. The tech advice line has a monthly average of inbound calls of 1,350, with a year to date from the November 2004 from it coming back in-house to March 2015 of a total of 6,749 calls. The total calls of a monthly average are 1,645, which includes some calls that might come directly to an officer that may not be a tech inquiry, it might be an inquiry about another matter, with a total of 8,221, with an average daily calls of 75 in the tech advice line. Due to the volume of calls received by the VBA, a reminder is not to leave your technical inquiry to the last minute in case you can't get through or we're tied up with another call. The tech advice line has a top 10 category list, listing in that order from drainage, gas fitting audits, compliance certificates, water supply, roofing, legislation, modification, sanitary and mechanical services. They're the top 10 list of items that inquiries are made at. What is required of plumbers when laying drains in unstable grounds or reactive soils? And we're talking about top 5 frequently asked questions. When laying a drain, the first thing practitioners need to do is to establish the ground conditions on the site they're working on. This is achieved by citing the soil classification report. Where the site is an M, H1, H2, E or P site, practitioners need to take into consideration in their design how they will allow for ground movement and the impacts this may have on the drains. ASNZS 3500.2 states that the method to protect the installation shall be determined by a recognised expert. This may include, but is not limited to, hydraulic consultants, geotechnical experts, plumbers and experience in designing drains and reactive soils, manufacturers and other individuals with the experience and skill set. When a drain is audited, the VBA will expect to see the site's classification and where required the design of the drain to ensure that the drain has been laid correctly. The VBA is currently involved with the Standards Working Group, part of WSA 14, Part 2 and Part 3, developing consistent design principles that plumbers can rely on when installing drains in reactive soils, and we will relay the information to the industry in the future when all the information is available. Another of the top 5 questions relates to the installation of temperature control devices, and the answers in AS 3500.4, clause 1.9.2. A new heated water installation is deemed the installation of a hot water unit and hot water piping, or the installation of the hot water piping alone. For example, the changeover of a hot water unit from a gravity-fed hot water unit in the roof to an outdoor unit will require a temperature control device because the changeover incorporates the relocation of the unit to a new position, requiring the alteration of hot water piping systems. 3. What is required when I install a cold water point adjacent to a water closet? Now, this is an issue that comes up often in Victoria now, where a property owner or a consumer may request the installation of a hand shower adjacent to a water closet. The answer is clearly in AS 3500.1 in section 4.1. Where a handheld sprayer is to be located adjacent to a water closet, a drinking water supply servicing the handheld sprayer must be protected by means of a high hazard backflow device, with a high hazard device possibly required as a containment device at the meter assembly. And that might seem like a simple, but it's a constant issue that's raised in parts of regional Victoria. 4. The maximum water pressure permitted within a building at the outlets. The answer is AS 3500.1 in clause 3.3.4, with a maximum pressure to be 500 kPa within a building. This can be achieved by the way of installing pressure reduction valves at the meter or in the dwelling. The reason for the limitation is because water pressure in excess of 500 kPa can cause damage from water hammer, reduce the life of appliances, taps and fittings, and cause excessive noise within a system due to pipe velocity noise. 5. Can I discharge a box gutter to the side at the downstream end? The requirements of 3500.3 in clause 3.7.4 are no. A box gutter must be straight without change of direction and must discharge at the downstream end without a change of direction, i.e. not to the side, in accordance with AS 3500.3 clause 3.4 and the requirements of HB 39 2015 when it's published this year. And that's a common problem with the industry. The installation of box gutters discharging through side entry outlets has become a big industry issue.